She chose her ex over me. So I left without a word and took everything with me. You never really know the exact moment when something begins to break. It's never a sudden explosion, never a thunderclap in the middle of the night. No, it's more like a slow, steady drip. Tiny, almost imperceptible cracks form beneath the surface. And before you even realize it, you're living in a house that's already collapsing around you. That's how it was with Amanda and me. We met 6 years ago in a way that almost felt cinematic. She bumped into me at a farmer's market on a random Sunday morning, spilled my coffee all over my shirt, and then offered to buy me another one. That moment, it felt like fate. She had this energy, vibrant, magnetic, the kind of woman who walks into a room and draws all the oxygen with her. I was a quiet type, focused, steady. I had just finished grad school and landed a solid job in project management. My days were spreadsheets, team meetings, and deadlines. But Amanda, she was chaos wrapped in elegance. She worked in digital marketing, fast-paced, always moving, always networking. She loved rooftop bars, spontaneous weekend trips, and taking selfies with every cocktail she drank. We were opposites, but we worked, at least in the beginning. Our first 2 years together were like a dream. We traveled to the Loom, took long walks downtown, shared playlists, and laughed until 2 a.m. I proposed on a chilly December evening beneath a canopy of lights at a Christmas market. She cried, said yes before I even finished the sentence. We got married 6 months later. A small, elegant ceremony. Just family and close friends. I still remember the way she looked walking down that aisle, eyes full of tears, a nervous smile whispering, "I can't believe this is real," as I took her hands. And I believed her. God, I believed her. We moved into the condo I had bought a year earlier. A 2-bedroom, modern kitchen, downtown view. I had worked my ass off to get it. No handouts, no inheritance, just discipline, late nights, and sacrifice. She moved in with her things, brought her dog, and made the place feel like home. We had routines. She'd cook on Wednesdays. I'd do Friday night takeout. We'd fight sometimes, nothing crazy. Just stupid things like laundry, spending habits, or how loud she chewed popcorn. But when it was good, it was good. And when it was quiet, that's when the cracks began. It was around our 3rd anniversary. Amanda had just started working with a new agency. Bigger clients, higher stress, more travel. At first, I was proud of her. She was climbing fast, winning campaigns, getting recognition. But something shifted in her. She stopped waiting for me to eat dinner, stopped asking about my day. She began texting more than talking. The phone, once left face up and unlocked, was now always flipped down. Notifications hidden. Fingerprint lock activated. She blamed work. "It's just been crazy lately," she said one night, brushing past me as I asked her to sit and watch a movie with me. "I'm tired. Can we not?" It wasn't hostile. It wasn't cruel. It was worse than that. It was indifferent. I began to notice the silences, the long pauses in conversation, the way she'd pull away when I touched her. No fights, no yelling, just cold distance. And that, honestly, is harder to fight than rage. I started doing the thing most people do, but never admit. I checked her Instagram likes. I looked at who commented on her stories. I noticed the same name popping up, Brad. At first, I thought, it's just a guy from work. Then I remembered Brad was her ex, the one she used to describe as chaotic but magnetic. They had dated for 2 years in college. She told me it ended because he was immature, flaky, not ready for anything real. Still, I remembered how she used to talk about him, how her voice would change just slightly when his name came up in stories. I asked about him once. She waved it off. "Brad? Oh, please. That ship sailed years ago. We're barely even friends." But something in her tone didn't sit right. One night, I came home from work early. She didn't hear me come in. She was in the bedroom, phone in hand, laughing softly. That laugh, that flirtatious tone I hadn't heard directed at me in months. I stepped into the doorway. She flinched. Who were you talking to? She stuttered. Just Jess. From work. I nodded. Put her on speaker then. I want to say hi. The color drained from her face. I just hung up. A lie. Clear as day. I didn't confront her. I just nodded again. And that night, I lay awake next to her, staring at the ceiling, realizing I didn't know this woman anymore. Sex became rare. Touch, even rarer. She'd roll over at night, away from me, clutching her phone like it held her lifeline. I once woke up at 3 a.m. and saw her texting someone in the dark. When I stirred, she quickly shoved the phone under the pillow. Bathroom, she mumbled, not even meeting my eyes. The next day, I checked the phone bill. Hundreds of texts. Same number, not saved as a contact. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Something inside me broke open that night, but it wasn't anger. It was cold clarity. She was choosing someone else. Maybe not physically yet, but emotionally, she was already gone. 2 weeks later, she told me about a wedding, one of her college friends, a destination event, fancy out-of-town venue. She wanted me to come. I think it would be good for us, she said, too brightly. Get out of the house. Reset. I agreed, because something in me, call it curiosity or maybe masochism, needed to see what was going on. That's when she mentioned Brad would be there. Oh, don't be weird about it, she said, waving her hand. We're all adults. And maybe we were, but only one of us was being honest. We drove up together, the usual Spotify playlist playing like a ghost of better days. She laughed more during that drive than she had in weeks, but it felt rehearsed, like she was trying too hard to convince both of us that everything was fine. When we got to the hotel, she immediately got a message on her phone. Smiled. It's Jess, she lied. Again, that night, she wore a red dress I hadn't seen in months. When I used to love, she used to wear it for me. Now she was wearing it for someone else. And I realized I was no longer the man she dressed up for. I was just the man who paid for the room. As I laid out my suit for the wedding, I watched her do her makeup. She hummed to herself, light, carefree, and I wondered, how long had she been emotionally gone? How long had I been living in a memory while she moved on in silence? I didn't have answers, but I knew one thing: I was done pretending. And the next 48 hours, they would change everything. Underscore, 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 underscore. The wedding day arrived like any other. Sunlight streamed through our hotel window, as if it had no idea that my world was seconds from cracking open. Amanda was already up, curling her hair, practicing smiles in the mirror, smiles that, as I now knew, weren't meant for me. She looked beautiful, dangerously beautiful, and as I sat on the bed tying my tie, a quiet chill settled in my chest. I wasn't getting ready to celebrate someone's love story. I was about to witness the death of mine. The wedding was held at this upscale country estate, one of those venues with sprawling gardens, tall marble pillars, and enough charm to make people forget they were burning through 5 figures in a single day. From the moment we stepped out of the car, Amanda changed. She let go of my hand quickly, walked a few steps ahead, smiled wider. I knew that smile. It was the one she used at networking events, not with me on cozy movie nights. It didn't take long to find the reason. There he was, Brad. He stood near the open bar, surrounded by a few friends. Sharp suit, smug grin, whiskey in hand like he owned the place. And when Amanda saw him, she lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree. She didn't introduce me. Not once. Not to Brad. Not to the girls she used to hang with in college. Not to anyone from her past. I was just there, a ghost with a suit and a polite smile. Someone who paid for half the gas in the hotel, but didn't belong in her spotlight. Brad came over eventually, uninvited. Amanda, he said with a slow, knowing smirk. You look incredible. She laughed, touched his arm. You don't look so bad yourself. No mention of me. I cleared my throat. She turned. almost like she'd forgotten I existed. "Oh, this is my husband," she said, with the same tone someone might use to introduce a coworker from HR. Brad shook my hand, lightly, dismissively. He didn't even make eye contact. And I'll never forget what he said next. "So, you're the guy she settled for." Amanda didn't even correct him. She just laughed. It was in that moment, that exact, humiliating, soul-crushing second, that something inside me snapped. But I didn't show it. Not yet. During the ceremony, we sat 2 rows from the front. Amanda leaned in, whispering little jokes about the officiant's dramatic voice, chuckling at the bride's crying mom. I smiled when I had to, nodded when I should, but inside, I was ice. I was staring at a woman who could share a bed with me at night and flirt with her ex in broad daylight, and not even flinch. I glanced at her hand, our wedding ring still on her finger, a hollow symbol now. The vows being exchanged on stage felt like cruel mockery, through thick and thin, through loyalty and trust. Trust. Funny how the word alone made my jaw tighten. Dinner came and went. Small talk, champagne, speeches. Amanda laughed too loudly at Brad's jokes. Stood too close when she thought I wasn't looking. I caught them brushing hands once as they passed each other near the bar. She didn't know I saw, but I did. And then came the real betrayal. The DJ turned up the music. The couple had their first dance. Soon, the floor was full of swaying bodies. Amanda grabbed my hand. "Dance with me," she said. I almost said no, but something told me this might be the last time I ever touch her. So I did. We swayed. Slowly. Politely. She rested her head on my shoulder like we were still okay. And that might have been the most twisted moment of all. But halfway through the second song, she looked over my shoulder, and her eyes found him. Brad. He stood by the far wall, watching, smirking. And in a moment I'll never forget, Amanda let go of my hand and said, "I'll be right back." She didn't even wait for my response. She walked straight to him, like I hadn't just danced with her, like I wasn't even there. They talked close, too close, and then they left the room. I stood there, alone. While couples danced and friends laughed, I stood in the corner, invisible. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. I stepped outside, checked the patio, the garden, nothing. Then I saw the hallway that led to the back rooms, the private suites meant for wedding party members and vendors. I walked slowly, like a man walking toward a truth he already knew but didn't want to confirm. At the end of the hallway, one door was slightly ajar. Voices inside. Her voice. His voice. Laughter. Then a moan. I didn't need to open the door. Didn't need to see what I knew was happening. That sound, the intimacy in it, the familiarity, told me everything. I turned around and walked away. Not back to the party. Not back to the lie. I didn't confront her. Didn't knock. Didn't scream. Didn't break anything. Because Amanda didn't deserve my rage. She didn't deserve my pain. She deserved consequences. I walked back to the hotel room alone. Packed my things silently. Left her dress on the hanger. Left her heels by the door. I took my wedding ring off. Set it on the nightstand. Took one last look around that room. Then I checked out and drove home. I sent one text. Not to Amanda. To her sister, who had always treated me like family. Just so, you know, Amanda stayed behind at the wedding. I won't be picking her up. We're done. No drama. No explainer. Just the facts. Amanda tried to call me the next morning. And the next. Voicemail. She sent messages. "Where you? I need to talk to you." It's not what it looked like, but she knew. And more importantly, I knew I wasn't hers anymore. And soon, neither would be the life she once shared with me. Underscore, 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 underscore. You know what the worst part of betrayal is? It's not the lies, not even the cheating. It's the fact that someone looked at you, at everything you gave, every promise you kept, and said, "That's not enough." Amanda made that choice the second she walked out of that wedding hall and into Brad's arms. But I made a choice too. I chose silence. I chose strategy. I chose revenge, not with noise, but with precision. Because if she could betray me in plain sight, I could leave her in plain sight too, while taking everything she thought she'd keep. When I got home that night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Didn't punch walls or drown myself in whiskey. That's what she might have expected. Instead, I sat in the quiet of our home and made a plan. Amanda didn't come back that night. Didn't even text me until noon the next day. Hey, not sure what happened. I'm still at the venue. Can you come pick me up? No mention of Brad. No apology. Just a casual assumption that I'd still be waiting. I didn't reply. Instead, I did the one thing she never expected. I erased myself from our shared life before she could blink. Underscore, 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 underscore. We rented the house under my name. I paid the deposit. Utilities? My credit card. Car lease? Under my name too. She didn't even bother to check. She always said, "Babe, you're so good with the boring stuff. I hate paperwork." And no, did that work in my favor. In the next 48 hours, I had the locks changed, froze our joint account, left her access to her personal one with exactly $1,247, called the car dealership and had the vehicle towed. Technically, my vehicle canceled her phone line off our shared plan, deleted her profile from our streaming, smart home devices, and subscriptions. And the apartment? I packed up everything that was mine, tech, tools, documents, even the air fryer she loved, and moved it all into a short-term furnished place I rented under a new P.O. box. I didn't block her. I wanted her to see it all happening in real time. By the third day, she knew something was wrong. Why isn't my key working? The car's gone. What's happening? Are you seriously ghosting me? She started calling, dozens of times. I let them ring. Then came the voice notes, her voice cracking under confusion. I know what it looked like, but I swear nothing happened. "You're overreacting. Please, we can talk about this. You're scaring me. What are you doing?" That last one made me pause. Good. Let her feel a fraction of the fear she handed me in that hallway outside the bridal suite. But this wasn't about scaring her. It was about clarity, about showing her exactly what she threw away. Amanda was an influencer. Not a huge one, maybe 20K followers on Instagram and TikTok combined. But her content was carefully curated. Skincare routines, couples dates, cute reels with me in the background, often without asking. She always said things like, "Smile, babe, the algorithm loves happy couples." Now it was time to let the algorithm do my bidding. I logged into the shared Google Photos folder. Yep, she never changed the password. I deleted every cute video she ever filmed of us, private the shared couples playlists, unliked and untagged myself from every single romantic post. Then I posted one single image on my account, a picture of my now empty wedding ring box with a single caption, "When they show you who they are, believe them the first time." I didn't tag her, didn't name drop, but everyone knew. The DMs poured in. Friends, her co-workers, even her mom messaged me, asking if we were okay. A week passed. Amanda showed up at my office. She waited in the lobby, tried to rush past the receptionist. Security had to walk her out. She called my mom, called my boss. She was unraveling, and I was still silent. But then came the voicemail I'll never forget. "You're destroying everything we built over a stupid misunderstanding. It wasn't even sex, okay? He kissed me, and I pushed him away after, and now you're punishing me like I'm some stranger?" That was the first time she admitted anything had happened. Funny how the story changed as her world shrank. Still, I said nothing. No text, no reply, no closure, because she didn't deserve closure. She deserved consequences. Divorce wasn't messy. She didn't fight, didn't even respond to the petition the first time. She probably thought silence meant I'd eventually forgive her. I didn't. After 30 days, it was defaulted No alimony. No property disputes. No court fights. All the major assets were mine legally. The final papers were delivered by courier to her parents' house. I made sure of it. She signed them. Eventually, in silence, our friend group splintered. Some stayed neutral. Others, especially those who were at the wedding, reached out privately to say, "Dude, we saw it too. We just didn't know what to say." One friend told me Amanda had been seen crying in her car at 3 a.m. outside Brad's apartment. But Brad, he'd moved on. Turns out he wasn't looking to rekindle love, just to see if he still had her. Once he got his answer, he ghosted her too. Poetic, isn't it? The man she betrayed me for betrayed her, and I didn't even have to lift a finger. Months later, she sent me one last message. Long, desperate, apologetic. She said things like, "I miss the way you loved me. You were my home. Can we at least talk once?" I read it, then archived it, not out of cruelty, but because I didn't need revenge anymore. She was already living it. Underscore. You'd think that after disappearing from Amanda's life, I'd want to forget her too. I didn't. Not right away. Because part of me needed her to see what she threw away. Not out of pettiness. Not because I missed her, but because I wanted her to understand exactly what she dismantled and what she could never have again. It started with therapy. I didn't go to vent about Amanda. I went to understand why I ignored the red flags. Why I felt the need to be the fixer in a relationship where I was being slowly eroded. My therapist helped me realize something profound. I wasn't just grieving the loss of her. I was grieving the version of me that accepted less than he deserved. And so began my actual revenge. I rebuilt myself. I started hitting the gym, not for Instagram, but for discipline. I restructured my sleep, my diet, my screen time. Took every ounce of pain and poured it into productivity. Learned photography, cooking, and even took a solo trip to Iceland, something Amanda always claimed was too cold and boring. Ironically, that was the first time I felt warm in years. Let me tell you something about heartbreak. It's a hell of a motivator. I threw myself into work, not to escape, but to excel. In less than a year, I closed 2 of the biggest deals of my career. Our company got acquired, and with my shares, I cashed out with enough to make real changes in my life. I upgraded my apartment, invested in startups, spoke at panels and conferences Amanda used to dismiss as corporate nerd fests. Suddenly, I was being invited to things I used to watch from the sidelines. People started seeing me, not as Amanda's partner, but as me, successful, sharp. Oh, here's the thing about social media. Even when someone's blocked, they find a way to see you. My posts weren't flashy, but every so often, I'd share a glimpse. A photo from the cliffs of Santorini, alone with a glass of wine. A caption about emotional clarity, not revenge. A quiet shot of a book I was reading with a quote like, "Sometimes people leave you in pieces so you can finally rebuild your masterpiece." And like clockwork, she'd view the stories. Every time, she didn't interact. She didn't message. But I could feel her presence like a ghost in the digital hallway, watching, lingering, regretting. About 18 months later, I was at a friend's birthday party at this upscale rooftop bar downtown. Nothing wild, just a close group of friends, some drinks, music. And then I saw her, Amanda, standing by the bar, alone. She looked tired, not physically, but spiritually. Like someone who had smiled for too many people who never stayed. She didn't see me at first, but when she finally turned and locked eyes with me, I saw it, that tiny flicker of hope. The what if. She walked over. "Wow, hey, you look different." I smiled. "Yeah, I guess I am." She asked about work. "Life," said she'd seen my photos. Then came the line I knew was coming. "I think about you sometimes." About what we had. I let the silence stretch. Then I replied, not cruelly, not bitterly. "We didn't lose something beautiful. You just broke it before it ever had the chance to become that. And then I excused myself mid-sentence. Walked away. Just like that. Because sometimes walking away without needing closure is the closure. You know what's funny? The longer I stayed away, the less I hated her. Not because I forgave her, but because I no longer needed anything from her. Not love, not answers, not even acknowledgement. That's the moment you truly win. Because revenge isn't always a scream. Sometimes it's the absence of need. The fact that she had to watch me become everything she once prayed I would, without her, was more than revenge. It was a mirror, a slow, silent mirror reflecting everything she lost. I didn't think I'd find it again. Didn't trust myself, to be honest. But one night, I met someone, Elena. She wasn't flashy, wasn't overly charming. She was calm, real, kind. She never tried to curate us. She asked questions and actually listened. There were no games, no hiding phones, no exes lurking in the shadows. With her, I felt something I never had with Amanda. Safety, emotional safety. The kind where you don't need to wonder if they're looking at someone else when you turn your back. We dated for over a year before I proposed. Quietly, without theatrics. Just the two of us on a foggy morning hike beneath a waterfall in Oregon. And this time, there was no betrayal at the altar, just peace. Right before I deleted my old email account, I saw it. A message from Amanda. Unopened. Sent 2 months prior. Subject line. Just one thing left to say. Curiosity got me. I clicked. I see you've moved on. You look happy. I just want you to know I wasn't ready to lose you. I thought Brad would make me feel young again. But all he did was show me what I threw away. I don't expect forgiveness. Just wanted you to know I regret it every day. I read it once, then archived it. No response, no reaction, because she wasn't part of my story anymore. She was just a chapter one survived. You know, people always talk about revenge like it has to be this big explosion. Loud, messy, public. But the most devastating revenge is peace. Is moving on, is growing so far beyond what they remember of you, that they can't even reach your shadow. Amanda chose chaos. I chose clarity. And in the end, she didn't just lose me. She lost a version of me that was willing to forgive her. That's something she'll carry far longer than any angry text or burn photo. That's forever. If you've ever been betrayed, disrespected, or underestimated, just know your revenge doesn't have to be cruel. It just has to be complete. So like this video if you've ever felt the quiet burn of poetic justice. Subscribe for more true stories where karma takes its time, but never misses. And drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen?